Hello,
Good morning.
good morning.
Thanks for jumping on.
That's all right.
Been a little while, hasn't it?
It's been a little bit.
All right, let's just make sure all the techie stuff is set up. Let me put my headphones on. I've got my power beats returned to me. Thank goodness.
Mm.
I missed them. They stopped working about halfway through your sessions, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mm.
Um. All right. So before we get started officially, my thoughts
Mm-hmm.
about doing this would be, at the flow of it, to have a chat about just the overall experience.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you want to say, just naturally from where you're at, where you were,
Mm-hmm.
how you're feeling now, and what you thought about the program, just generally.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought, so we can dive a little deeper, I've got some questions that you may have seen through the links, the feedback questions, which I use to refer, or clients can refer to when they chat about testimonials. So we'll refer
Mm-hmm.
to those questions. And if I feel like we need to sort of chew on it a little bit more, or go through your individual session notes and talk about any key aspects or
Things that have changed through.
yeah, things that have
Yeah.
changed, or what did you like get out of each session, because we covered different things each time, so
Yeah.
it'll be good to get more specific about that stuff as well.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, it's on, almost there. A bit like this barley weather today, isn't it? Very stuff like
Mm.
sticky,
Bit.
like
Yeah. Bit icky.
bit humid. All right, connecting my ears. Oh, boom. I don't need my boom. I need my power beats. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Woo! You're in my ears now. Great. Do
That's
you
cool.
notice a difference in sound once my headphones are connected from your side?
Um. Not
Is there
really.
anything different? No. So it's just more so for me than for you.
Yeah.
How selfish.
You
All right.
got to be selfish. I've learnt to be selfish.
Yes. Yes. All right, Jamane, official welcome to your testimonial video. I cannot wait to connect with you on this. You've come through some pretty intense teachings and experiences through breathwork. And we both thought in your last session that you'd been doing this for the whole year, and actually
Mm.
checked the calendar dates, and you started the 5 session program in June. So
Mm.
you did a 6 month intensive. So you went through the 5 session program and then went straight into the 10 session program. And you did maybe mostly weekly, some fortnightly sessions, but it was never a
Mm-hmm.
full month break. So you had that constant check in with yourself,
Mm.
accountability, and emotional support to do the work. So I'm really looking forward to getting through each session and going through some of the feedback and how you've been feeling before, during, and after, and all that sort of stuff. So, my main reason behind this is so people who have got no idea about breath work, which is like yourself before you did this, can witness this video
Mm-hmm.
and get a little bit more understanding, gain a bit more trust, maybe with me as the facilitator, but of the whole concept of breathwork and what's involved, um,
Mm-hmm.
so that they can feel more maybe curious or open or willing to do the work, so that they can come out the
Of
other end and get
course.
all the gifts that you have experienced as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what are your intentions for this testimonial video? Do you have anything that you'd want to make sure you've got
That
set as an
anything that I
intention for
put out.
today?
Um. No set in intention really. It would be great to see where how far I've come.
Mm.
I know personally the growth that I've made throughout this program. But I would love to check in and look back at those sessions with you and kind of
Yeah,
delve
yeah.
into it a little bit more.
Celebrate your progress by reflecting.
Yeah.
There's power in that,
Yes.
isn't there?
There's a lot
Yeah,
of power in reflecting.
yeah. And it does get missed quite a bit too. So I'm grateful that you see there's benefit in that as well. I remember so many dance concerts through the years of my training and working that it was always straight to the next thing. As soon as the gig was done, or as soon as the show was complete, it was all right, exams, competitions, shows, the next gig. And I never fully created space for myself. I wasn't really taught it that much. I don't really remember being taught the reflection anyway. As something I created when I was teaching, when I saw there was a bit of a gap between show and the next project. So reflection is incredibly powerful to actually get the lessons and make sure we use what we've learned to carry forward rather than just like repeating something over and over and over again and not getting the lessons.
You just kind of stay stagnant. You need to
plateau.
Take the good and the bad with every experience.
All right. So with that, my first question for you is, what would you like to say about your experience? A very open question for you.
My experience has been, it's definitely something I didn't expect. Through especially coming out of the program and living throughout my means every day, it's kind of it's changed the way I view the world and changed the way I view myself and what's important.
What are those things? That's okay. How do you view the world now, and how do you view yourself now since doing the programs?
I don't necessarily view the world any different. It's more I view myself different and about how I'm moving through the world. The world stays the same because you can only make so much change, and a lot of that change has to be made within yourself first. I feel like I've been making a lot of that change within myself, and that has obviously changed my surroundings.
That's key, right? We can always try and manipulate the external world by trying to control things or tell someone to do a certain thing and then get annoyed whether they do it or not. And there's no guarantee for success when we try and control our external world. So what I'm hearing you saying is that you've discovered doing the work to notice how you feel and what you want to work on within yourself has actually affected how you see the world.
Yes.
Delicious.
100%.
Fantastic. Let's go through, if you can remember, before I refer to our notes, because that's like our little cheat sheet, I want you to see what you recall just in this present moment. The fact that you're drinking a massive water bottle is part of the wins, I think. Yes.
3 liters every day.
Here's to the water bottles. Hi, Mum. Hi, Miss Donna. I'll have a sip with you.
Most mornings now, I try every morning, jump out into the sun and just drink a whole thing of these, or at least half.
Yes.
At least 3/4. Just get that water in and a bit of sun.
Have you noticed how you feel since you've been doing that?
Energized.
Yeah, what's the difference? Where were you in the mornings before you were drinking water and getting outside to how you're feeling now in the mornings?
In the mornings, I would be so, I'd wake up straight attached to my phone and just be tired until I had my coffee, and then after my coffee I'd get even more tired because I'd have this up and then down.
Yeah, I wasn't the peak from the caffeine.
Yeah, I would, and that's just how I was moving throughout the day. Having my water in the morning and a bit of sun just awakens everything. It awakens the systems. I have a cold shower in the morning as well, so I really wake up my body and it's so much better getting my mind right in the morning.
Yes.
To smash out the day. It's very important.
Yes.
Morning routine and morning, not necessarily routine, just things that I need to do for myself in the morning have been a priority and have been the biggest change. For me, as something that I've learned taken from this program.
Yes. So the morning, I like to call them morning rituals because without them,
Rituals, that's right.
yeah,
Yeah.
morning routine is good. It kind of feels to me the idea of a morning routine is like the things I have to do, like the to-do list.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
would typically have resisted my own to-do list that I created because it's more on the to-do list, and that created more anxiety and
Yeah.
overwhelm before the day even started. Old patterns.
Exactly.
The
Old
minute there's
patterns.
a spiritual aspect of this is serving me and serving others by me doing this first,
Mm-hmm.
so it's a ritual. There's something spiritual about it. There's something very wholesome about it. Even if it's
Mm-hmm.
just drinking water and getting outside and doing some
It's
deep
the
breathing.
simple things.
Yes. So the
Yeah.
morning ritual is one of the biggest changes you've made. And how consistent have you been with this now?
I've been very consistent
Right.
because I've learned how good it feels. I'm learning each and every day how much better it is for myself. Even reading a book in the morning, I started reading The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. My auntie gave it to me as a gift, and I've been reading that in the
So the
morning, and
actual like
it's just
handheld book, not a tech
the
book.
handheld book. Yeah,
Wow,
the
yeah,
handheld
nice.
book it helps me reading a handheld book. I'll sit on it for an hour, and I feel present. I feel
Mm,
I feel relaxed. When I was reading it on my phone on the tech, it wasn't the same. Reading
yes.
something for an hour with a physical book helps me feel very present.
Yeah, it's a power of focus on just the one thing.
Yeah.
Well done. Great, great changes have been made to go
Mm.
from, I remember you saying, even the idea of wanting to read a book, it was just something that you couldn't fully commit to or really interested
It
in or didn't
was
know where to
yeah,
look. Um, and that's changed significantly. You went from the little,
significantly.
what are the books called where you said you just read like the
It
main
was like the
points of the
Headway
book,
app.
the
Yeah,
summary.
it was like a summary.
And so now you're going into the full book.
Yeah.
Very happy to hear that. Very, very cool. So there's some main changes for your total health daily
Health.
ritual,
Yes.
right? So it's not even
Yes.
just like the breathwork side of things. You're actually changing your lifestyle.
Yes.
Why is that? Why did you decide that changing your lifestyle was important?
Um, I think through this breath work, um, and learning about ego, what you taught me about ego has been has played a massive part. I've been sharing. I've been caught myself not even caught myself. I willingly share the stuff that you've been teaching me with
Yes.
so many people, with my friends, with people I meet for the first time who are trying to get to know a bit about me. I'm like, well, I've been doing this, so I'm a completely new person.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
is something I've been doing. And um, where was I going with this? I was going
Lifestyle
to
change. Why is that? Why
lifestyle
was it
change.
important to you? Yeah. Yeah.
It's and since doing this work, it's just the realization of what I wasn't doing previously. I wasn't looking after myself. I was so focused on materialistic things and where I wanted to be in the future, but then resenting the things that I'd done, resenting myself in the present for not doing those things to get me to the future, to get me
Battling
to where
yourself.
I want to be. And as when it comes to your career and stuff like that, and there's obviously things you can do, but you've taught me that the first steps are to you need to prioritize your health. You
Hmm.
need to prioritize yourself, and to prioritize myself. Health is very important, especially being someone who lives with anxiety and OCD and stuff like that. It's a cost to get distracted by all these materialistic things, and it takes a big toll on me when you learn to focus on the little things, the very
Hmm.
minimal things that help you throughout the day. Uh, make make for massive change is what I've
Yes.
come to realize. So there's little health goals: brushing my tongue in the morning before I drink my water, the drinking more water, getting more sun, and just
Yeah.
breathing. Just those. just those very, very minimal. Even I've been putting Himalayan salt in my water too, and I'm peeing like crazy. The toxins that are being released is insane.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's just been a I think this is just part of my process coming out of this, where I'm going. I think my first step, I believe my first step of this process is, yeah, just to change those health goals.
Mm.
Those health goals, just to change those health rituals and feed my body better and be
Yep.
healthy, because
You've made a start.
that will help. Yeah, I've made a
Yeah.
start. That will help me in
Yeah.
my career. I
Yeah, for
need to have a
sure.
healthy body for my
Yes.
career specifically. So
If you
that's
want it to be
another
long
thing.
lasting, yeah.
I think that's why I've made a massive change with my health. I've been
Yes.
going to the gym. I've been exercising heaps more, um, and yeah, just because I know I need to be physic- physically capable
Mm.
for my career. So it's something
Mm.
I found a lot more joy in doing for
Yes.
myself.
Fantastic. So small, consistent changes daily or small, consistent rituals to nurture your health has a direct effect or link to the longevity
Uh,
and the big goals and the career and the physical body ability. Everything
mm-hmm.
starts with the moment now and making those
Yes.
subtle, small changes.
Mm-hmm.
What stopped you from doing this in the past?
Materialistic things.
Such as?
My likes on Instagram, what clothes I had, thinking that I needed to um, do this stuff to to. I think it was more trying to please the outside world.
Mm,
I was so focused on, because obviously part of my career is has to do with my social media presence and all that sort of stuff. I was
yeah.
deeply involved in that,
Mm,
and I was criticizing myself for what I wasn't doing at the moment, and just like comparing myself to where others were, and
yeah.
in and around my area.
Yeah.
Um, doing and yeah, it's just been. What was the question again?
Reading to your
I keep
heart,
getting
you'll
right.
remember. That's okay. You're connecting to your heart. You're just flowing with what's coming up, which is perfect. You answered the
Yeah.
question really well. Something that came to mind when you were saying that was the difference in how you define two things: happiness and success.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, before you did any of this work, how did you define success? Do you remember?
It was the amount of money I was making,
Yep.
where my social media status
Yep.
was.
Yep.
Um, yeah, all those big materialistic things that just seem so
Yeah. And
far
that makes sense,
out of
doesn't it?
reach.
That
Yeah,
makes sense. If your focus on success is based on the external materialistic things, that's why you are focusing on those things and missing out on yourself. But without yourself, you can't
I've
get those things anyway. So there's that little block.
exactly,
Yeah. And
exactly.
most people go through life not getting that behind, well, not hindsight, getting that awareness of missing out on
Yeah,
themselves. Yeah.
yeah.
What about
I've
happiness?
found.
Sorry, go for it.
Can I expand? Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
just
yeah.
gonna say I've found a lot more um, success in myself, and a lot more. I find success in those little things that I've been doing.
Mm,
I've been finding success in drinking water, reading a book, getting out of bed early, going to the gym. I have found, and that brings gratitude. I've found success in that. I find the success in those little wins,
mm,
and it makes me feel better for just to continue
yes.
throughout the day or whatever it is. Um, so
So
yeah,
you've not,
my definition of success now has changed completely.
yeah, yes. And I'm hearing you say, you're like, you're checking in with yourself based on how do I feel after doing ABC? How am I feeling when I don't do it? And there's a weight or a lightness in either of those situations. And I believe since I've been doing this work, I've really started to trust my feeling as well. And so when I pay attention to how I feel, when I do something or when I don't do something, like the morning routine or rituals, there's weight in that straight away. There's feedback straight away. I don't have to look for external approval or appreciation or validation from anyone. I can trust my own feeling based on what I'm doing or not doing, and then that's enough, right? It's a much easier way to get feedback rather than waiting for the teacher or the client or the gig or whoever else, the girls or the guys or social media. It's a lot
You
more
do something for
consistent.
yourself,
Yeah.
and then hey, exactly, you can create those feelings within yourself by doing those things,
Yes.
by
Yes.
taking
Yes.
that action
Yes.
for you.
Good. Good. What about
You were saying happiness before.
happiness? How did you define what made you happy before this? Do you remember?
Before this, happiness was a tough topic. Happiness was something that I thought could last forever. But obviously, learning um, that happiness, comes and goes. It's just part of emotion. It's part of the emotions we feel every single day.
Yeah.
Um, I look at happiness now. Oh, actually, sorry. Before the program, happiness seems so far away. It seemed so out of reach. I was happy when I was doing certain things, when I was making videos with my boys, and when I was dancing, when I was doing all those things, and with being with family and stuff.
Yeah.
There was happiness in that. Um, now so I hardly crave it. I don't
Yes.
really crave happiness.
So not a
I
grasping
accept
for it.
Yeah, I accept happiness when it comes. Sometimes I'll just feel this sense of just big happiness, and as soon as I feel it, sometimes what I used to do whenever I had this feeling of happiness, just like randomly, it was something that I would just be like, I'd be like, well, I have this really good feeling, and then I'd lose it straight away. As soon as I feel that now, I breathe into it, and then it sets me up for the rest of the day. I have this feeling of gratitude and happiness in here, and sometimes it comes out of nowhere, just depending if something's happened or if it's just the world telling me, hey, you should be happy right now. You deserve to feel this. And then
Yes.
I just go, wow, and then I breathe into it,
It's
and it's
there. It's
just
there all the time. Yeah.
it's there exactly. Happiness is there all the time. You can create it within yourself. That's something I've learned as well.
Yeah.
I if
That's a
I
big
really
one.
if I want to be happy, I can. Um,
How amazing
just,
is that? If I want to be happy, I
just,
can. It's a choice, is what
I
I'm hearing
can.
you say. It's a choice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
choice.
Yes. So when you were
Um,
originally seeking and looking and striving for happiness from the things you were doing, that meant when you weren't doing something, you were unhappy, right? Is that the
mhm,
full equation? So you had to be doing
mhm.
something to be happy.
And that was
Yeah.
me overworking myself, trying to be busy because that's what I thought that made me happy.
Would you
And
call that
just,
the compulsive doer? I've been playing with that phrase or that label for a while now.
mm,
Did you see yourself sitting in that, like a compulsive doer, like
yeah,
mindlessly busy?
yeah.
Yeah. And speaking about happiness just a little bit more, when you said when you had feelings of happiness in the past before this program, you'd lose it because you didn't breathe into it or feel it. So what does that tell you? I'm just like testing you a little bit here. Where did you go
Mm-hmm.
in your
Go into my
experience to
thoughts.
miss it? Yes.
I went into my
Yeah.
head
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
tried to
You
figure out
can't
why
feel
I
from
was
there.
feeling it. You can't.
You said you were trying to figure out why. That is a
Yeah.
thought-based process, isn't it? So if you
Hmm.
feel happy and you start thinking about why, you're no longer feeling it.
Goes away. Boom. Because you're thinking about it.
Yes. And unless you knew about emotions, you wouldn't even realize what you were doing was cutting yourself off from feeling.
No idea.
That's the biggest piece in this, isn't it? You actually learn how to feel your emotions and savor it and cultivate
Hmm.
it and let it expand and let it flow rather than experiencing it by reaction. I was like, whoa, I'm happy all of a sudden. I wonder why. Boom, gone. It's out. You cut yourself off. It's
Hmm.
how did we not know this when we were younger? Why don't we get
It's
taught
crazy.
this? It's like, this is
It's
so
crazy.
important. So your happiness and your success has changed. Your morning rituals have begun. You're starting to be more curious. You said about your diet and your fitness. Now that you've
Hmm.
started to look into it, there's so much more, right? What
Hmm.
is it that you have changed for your morning ritual? You said you used to just wake up, look at your phone, have a coffee, and then start your day in a bit of a heavier, sort of trenched out feeling. Now you've got your up earlier, your water, your sunshine outside. What are you doing with your food now? Because I remember you said you went from like high sugar takeaways, all those kinds of last minute fuel choices for the body. What are you doing for your energy with food now?
Um, breakfast is has always been my favorite meal of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I used to usually I would just it would either be like some cereal. It would be wheat bix with a crap ton of sugar and maybe
Yes.
some strawberry jam. Now it's this morning was wheat bix with a little
Mm-hmm.
bit of sugar and a few strawberries.
Nice.
Some bring some
So
fruit into
some
it.
realistic changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I am trying to stay away from takeaway foods as much as possible.
Yeah.
Um, my lunch is a salad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm being more open to a lot more, um, just a lot more of those things. Like I thought that I didn't like capsicum for some reason. I
Yeah.
love capsicum. I love it now.
Great.
It was amazing. Just those little wins too.
Cool.
So
Allowing
yeah,
yourself to
lunch
re
is
explore food, re experience it.
mm, mm,
Yeah. I don't know why I thought I didn't like it. That's an interesting awareness to have. You thought you didn't
mm-hmm.
like it. Where did that come
I thought
from?
I didn't
At
like
some
it.
point. Where did that happen? Did you hear that from someone else who doesn't like it and you just adopted it? Like, we won't always know the answers to those things. Um,
Exactly.
but just being open, it sounds like you're being open and curious to explore, which is a really great place to be in. So
Yeah,
you can make your decision based on how you feel now rather than
exactly.
based on what you think is true.
Exactly. Less caught up in here.
Yes. Let's touch on the intensity of your feelings of anxiety and OCD. Where were you at before all this? And how did that fluctuate or heal or change for you? So go back to the start. How much were you struggling with it before this program? Can you even remember?
Before this program, it
So like early in the
was
year. Still in the pandemic, still lockdowns fluctuating in and out. So gigs aren't on, classes aren't
yeah.
running, can't see friends, all those sorts of intensity feelings happening.
I wasn't in terms of anxiety and OCD. Those weren't affecting me. Anxiety wasn't affecting me too much.
Yep.
I didn't. OCD was still taking a bit of control. It still had a big part to play.
Yep.
Um, there's a lot of things. Pardon me, sorry.
It's
There's a lot
okay.
of things that I've been rediscovering about my anxiety and my OCD now. Um, I think before this program, I wasn't. Um, I don't know. It's been okay since because I'm still on my medication and stuff.
Yep. Yep.
It if I could refer to last year,
Yeah, go back even further. What was it like when it
it
was really bad? What were you doing?
it
How was it?
was yeah, my OCD was taking up a lot of my time
Mm.
and the way I went about my day because I believed that it was those little things part of my OCD. Like if I touch this bowl with this finger, I had to touch it with this finger also, and if it didn't feel
Yeah.
right, I'd be stuck here for hours.
Mm.
Not for hours, but I'd be stuck here for a long time just trying to make it feel right on each finger. And I wasn't because my morning rituals and routines weren't set. I wasn't taking my medication at the same time every morning.
Yep.
So it was fluctuating a lot. I was missing days, which overall affected
Mm.
my OCD and anxiety worse than probably before I was taking the medication. Now that my rituals are in check and I'm doing stuff more consciously,
Mm.
um,
You're treating
it's
the cause. You're treating the uneasiness feeling that was probably that had probably created anxiety and OCD by setting up
mm,
these morning rituals and this nurturing
mm,
rather than trying to treat the symptoms of anxiety and OCD. Right? That's what I'm hearing in all of
yeah.
that. And how would have anxiety and OCD affected you before this program? Like how you saw it? How did you judge yourself or criticize yourself? Or how did you see yourself
Um,
in the world? And how did that work for you?
I would I would stay away from things because I thought that my OCD would be affected by it.
Mm.
I would stay away from things because I thought I would have major anxiety over it. And I didn't want to. I would stay away from learning something and reading a book because when I used to read books and try and learn something, it would give me anxieties when I was in school or something.
Like the learning traumas.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and just
So
being
you're
so
avoiding.
like, yeah, I did a lot
Yeah.
of avoiding,
Yeah.
um, and avoided myself, which is something I learned. I avoided myself because I didn't like the way I felt, and I didn't like the things that I was doing because of my OCD and my anxiety. I, I
Mm.
I tried to avoid it, and then I got caught up in the distractions and then the busyness of my schedule,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of those patterns were created partially because of my anxiety and OCD. Um, but now that I'm aware and I'm more conscious of those things, it's changed completely.
Yeah. I can see that. It's made a big difference. Um,
Mm,
there's a key piece to that when I'm hearing you speak about it, and that's it, like there's a essence of accepting and
mm-hmm.
not fearing um, OCD and anxiety, like actually allowing
Not
that to come
fearing.
through, not fearing the experience of
Yeah,
those two things.
yeah.
Um, it's allowed you to sit with it and to connect with all your feelings. So speak about that a little bit more. What is your understanding or your what am I trying to ask? What is your relationship with your feelings now compared to what it used to be like?
Like you said, I'm not afraid of my feelings anymore,
Mm,
and I'm not trying to chase them.
mm,
I'm I'm sitting more and more with peace every single day as a guide. And then when these emotions arise, I deal with them how I choose to. When
mm,
happiness arises, I choose to breathe it in and feel it fully. When if there's something sad that goes wrong, I consciously understand the moment of sadness and I I I breathe into why am I feeling like this if I don't
Mm.
know. Most of the
Mm.
time I do, because I'm, like I said, I'm living a more conscious lifestyle now.
You're
That
aware of
was
your
a that was
feelings. Yeah.
I'm aware of my feelings.
Yeah.
Um
Are you able to accept sadness and breathe it in and feel the sadness like it's because typically sadness or fear or anger is known as the negative emotions? How are you in
mm,
comparison to positive and negative emotions? Are you able to accept all of them?
100%, because I know there's a message in all of them now. I know there's a meaning to it. There's a reason.
Mm.
There's a there's a yeah, there's that underlying message within it all. It's
Mm.
a
Mm.
it's a feeling of what I'm I'm taking the good and bad from every experience,
Yeah.
and from every feeling. If I'm feeling a moment of sadness, I'm I'm taking in why, and this is maybe because I didn't drink enough water today, maybe because I didn't do this, and
Mm.
not even the
Yeah.
maybes. You know what? To be honest,
Mm.
the since completing this session, I actually haven't experienced a lot of uh, I don't want to say negative emotions now, but emotions like sadness and anxiety and all that sort of stuff. I don't know if it's the holiday season or it's
Yeah.
just how I've been moving.
And you don't have to know why. You just notice that you
Yeah.
haven't been feeling the lower end of the emotional scale. So negative and positive is
Mm-hmm,
okay without looking at negative as bad, but negative as in the lower end of the emotional scale.
mm-hmm,
So the like depression, anger, guilt, shame, all those heavy feelings,
mm-hmm,
that's why it feels negative. So look at like negative and positive, and that's okay. You don't have to know why because you go into your head. What I'm hearing is that you're able to just notice the feeling, be with the feeling, breathe it in, whether it's a negative or positive emotions like frustration or fear or sadness or even the other ones, more positive side, just to feel them.
mm-hmm.
You don't have to do anything with
Exactly.
them,
Exactly.
but they're
They don't
guiding you in a
necessarily.
way, right? The emotions are guiding
Yeah.
you. So,
Yes.
what have you
That
learnt
was what I
about
was trying to get
fear or anger or sadness? It's guiding you to tell you that what? I don't like this. I value this. I I don't want this to happen again. You know that, so that's what all of the negative emotions are. Sadness is I've lost something that I value. Anger is I don't like it this way. Fear is I'm worried it's going to happen again. Now that you know these things, especially with a negative emotion, how are you dealing with that now? What's the positive change of experiencing negative emotion? Because that would have a direct link to how you feel anxious and with OCD, right?
it. Yeah. Big time. Um, I think going off what you just said, knowing those things now about the lower emotional scale and how there's that
Mm.
underlining meaning for them.
Yes.
It's a meaning for change.
Yeah.
Those feelings are exactly like you said. Um,
They're
when it
guiding
comes
you.
to anger,
Yeah.
they're guiding me, and I'm more open to letting those emotions guide me
Mm.
now. Whereas back then, if I felt sadness, I would try and erase it and try and do something else to take over that feeling,
Yeah. Well done. Awesome.
which would broaden my anxiety scale because
Yes.
I've fully ignored the sadness, and there's that underlining pressure built up from not accepting the feeling for what it is and
Mm.
not taking in that guidance, where myself is like, you need this lesson, don't
It
ignore
hurts
it.
here for a reason.
Yeah, it hurts here
Yes.
because my body is telling me, hey, you need to learn this lesson. You
Yeah.
need
Feel the
to
sadness. Be
you
with
need
it.
to feel the sadness
Yeah.
because you need to
Yeah.
learn something from this.
Right. So you've learnt to accept the negative emotions because they're not wrong. You're not judging them anymore as something bad. And that has
Exactly.
affected the level of your anxiety and how you can deal with OCD, and you're nurturing the potential causes of the anxiety and OCD as opposed to reacting to things that have caused it in the past or have affected it or made it more intense, right?
100%. Exactly.
Lots of emotional wins.
Hmm.
Um, how have your relationships been since doing this work? Has that changed?
Relationships have been a funny one.
Hmm.
They have been. Oh,
Woo!
sorry.
That's okay.
I caught the wire with my toe.
That's a gift.
um,
That's fine. So
I,
relationships have been a funny one.
yeah, there's a. It's especially with like my closest friends
Mm.
and people who are around me. It's cool to see how they view the world and what I love picking people's brains now and just I kind of accidentally do it. I feel like I've always done that. I get people to get very deep and open with me
Yeah.
about how they're feeling and what's on
You
their
value
mind
that?
and stuff, and I value that. I always
Yeah.
have. Now that I am more um accepting of myself and I'm understanding more about myself and how it has helped me to be more aware and
Yeah.
accepting of my feelings and stuff.
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed helping people
Yeah.
and helping people who have gone through anxiety and stuff like that because I've experienced it as well. But
Mm.
I never really trusted myself enough to help these people and give all this advice because I didn't do it myself anyways. Now that I'm doing it myself,
Mm.
I'm telling people and showing people what it can do for you. And
So your
I'm
experience is giving you trust to share
yes,
and connect.
exactly. Because I used to share based off my thoughts. Now I'm sharing based off things that I've felt, that I truly believe.
And the only thing
And
that's real is the present moment, and the only thing that's in the present moment is your feeling, because thoughts are in the past.
exactly, exactly. And
Yes.
I've really been trying to give that off to everyone every time we're talking about something,
Yeah.
and I can see people getting caught up in their head about
Yeah.
certain
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
I see
Yeah.
it so vividly now,
Mm.
and I I feel bad. I'm like, I wish you weren't so caught up in your head. I wish you could
Yeah.
just be present with
Just
me.
feel. Just feel.
Yeah, just
Just be
be,
present. Just be
just be.
present. Yeah. Yeah. So
There's
you're noticing tension and resistance in people, or even doubt and maybe even confusion about the things that you're talking about. It's not very common knowledge, the understanding and the difference between feelings and thoughts. And yeah, so you're seeing that now. You're seeing people's thought patterns, the way they communicate, and you're noticing how they react or suppress or
mm-hmm,
push away. Um,
mm-hmm,
because you've done the learning, you've been learning through discussion in these sessions, you've been learning through practical, actually like chewing on it with me in the sessions, and then you've been going out into the real world and
and
experiencing
I'm
life,
I'm learning through
actually applying.
experience.
You're applying the things that you've learned, which is
Mm-hmm,
amazing, right? Because
mm-hmm,
words don't teach, experience does. And now you're
mm-hmm,
leading by example. That's what
mm-hmm,
I'm seeing and hearing.
mm-hmm. I'm
Mm.
really trying to. I'm not trying to change the people around me. I'm just trying to give them another look.
Mm.
I'm just trying to give the people around me another look because I know it can help them,
Mm.
especially like my best mates, my boys.
Yeah,
Um, I see the self-destructive patterns
yeah,
in their thinking and the way they go about things and how accepting of it they are.
yeah,
And I'm still a little bit. I don't want to push myself onto them too much and get
yeah,
involved too much to try and change the way that they think
yeah, because you can't.
and stuff like that. Exactly, you can't.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and I understand that too. So
Mm.
it's more so just me just telling them about my personal experiences
Yeah, yeah,
and
good on you.
and explaining how it has helped me and just giving them another look.
Yeah.
Um,
Beautiful.
so that has been a big thing for me when it comes to relationships. I'm a lot more observant
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
of people's thought patterns and behaviors and stuff like that, and
Yes.
what I and especially not taking other people's pressure or thoughts or experiences and putting them on myself. That's
Yeah.
something I used to do as well. I used to take what they were telling me, put it on myself to try and give them what I thought would be right. Now I'm
And
taking
yes. Yeah.
now I'm learning to not take in all that they're telling me. The negative stuff that they're expressing, I'm just letting them express it.
Yeah. So you're allowing
And
them
I
to
and
be where they're at without
I'm
taking it on board yourself.
exactly.
Yeah.
And the good, I'm taking it. I'm taking it in. I'm
Mm.
learning, I'm a lot more observant of the good and bad behaviors with all my relationships,
Well
with my
done.
parents,
Yeah.
with my siblings, with my cousins,
Yeah.
with my friends,
Yeah.
and knowing that, these behaviors that I see as negative is just a behavior that I don't need to involve myself in. I don't
Yeah.
need to I don't need to take that on. And
Yeah.
as much as I would love to help them, they got to figure it out on their own.
Yeah. You can ask questions
I
so
can
they can figure
guide.
it out
I can go
themselves. Yeah.
exactly ask
Yeah.
questions.
It's the least dangerous way of supporting your loved ones, because if anyone is a little rebellious and not liking to conform, which is typically the people that we hang out with because we're all very, very similar in the creative space, a little bit more
Mm.
against the grain, if anyone tells you to do something, most people's reaction is like, I'm going to do the opposite of that, 100 miles in this direction. Well, that's what I was like. I'll speak from my
Mhm.
experience. And I found that I started to make big change when someone stopped telling me what to do. They would
Mm.
ask questions, they would present information, and then I would make my own decision based on where I was at the time. And so
Mhm.
if I got a positive response from being in total control of my decisions and my behaviors, then of course I would lead from that place too, giving everyone the opportunity to make a decision and be in control of their own decisions and behaviors and create space. And that means we have to accept people as they are and where they're at, whether we
Yes.
like it or not, or whether we think they could do better. Because when we think they could do better, we're in our
Yeah.
head and in judgment.
Exactly. That's another thing I've been very that was a part that was my old behavior.
Mm,
I would think that I could make them better and give them something.
mm.
Now I just now I'm like exactly what you said before. I
Dropping the
can
judgment and accepting. Yeah,
accepting.
yeah.
Um in terms of relation, I think how people have viewed me
Mm.
relationships wise, not how I think people have viewed me, because I don't care.
Even that's
I
massive. That's
Yeah,
huge.
I couldn't care less what you think about me. Sometimes, you
Powerful
know what?
stuff.
Sometimes I still get caught up.
Ego
Um,
is still
the,
there. It's always there.
oh
But if you
yeah,
can observe it,
oh
yeah,
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 yeah. It's
yeah,
about observing it.
yeah,
Um, there's, but where I was going with this,
yeah. About
was
people's
where
opinion of you, or people, what was the word
how
you
I yeah
used?
how I think people viewed me,
Thank you. Yeah.
because a lot of people have I've noticed a lot of people, especially even mum and
Yeah.
dad, just
Yeah.
like people asking like, "Are you okay? Like, is everything all right?"
Yeah.
Because I'm not bubbly this bubbly person all the time, or I'm and I'm just
So how have they changed around you? Is that what you're sort of getting at? Their interactions with you based on the changes you've made? That's
um
Is that the angle you're going at?
No, I was just going more in the angle that people have noticed my shift.
Yeah, yep, yep.
And I'm just like, and people are like, "Oh, are you okay? Like, is everything all right with you?" And I'm just, yeah, I'm amazing. I'm just being. I'm doing great. Thank you very much.
Great to
Um,
validate that.
yeah.
Especially if someone
What?
asks you, what's wrong? Are you okay? Because sometimes the questioning can imply a negative response.
Mm,
So then if we're in our head, we go, well, I don't know, what is wrong? There's got to be
yeah.
something wrong. And then we get stuck in the head straight away. But if you can breathe and be present, actually feel your answer and know what you feel, regardless of what someone else may think you're feeling or being concerned about how you're behaving, then you're all good. You're not going to get swept up in someone else's stuff.
Mm-hmm. Big
Is
time.
that kind of the difference that you've been speaking about? That's the
Yeah.
feeling. Yeah. So you're trusting your
Yeah.
feeling, regardless of what
Yeah.
other people think about you.
Yeah.
Cool. That's a win.
Oh, yeah. It's been a very big win, and I noted it came into. It was in this book that I'm
Yeah.
reading. There was this line that just made me re-believe it even more.
Mm,
It was
yeah.
the suggestions of others and themselves have absolutely no power whatever over you except the power that you give them through your own thoughts. You have to give your mental consent. You have to entertain the thought, then it becomes your thought, and you do the thinking. Remember, you
Mm,
have the capacity to choose. Choose life, choose love, choose health.
beautiful.
I read that
Yeah.
last night and I was like, that's
That's
so
beautiful.
powerful.
There's a lot in being, I spoke about this with a client last night too. There's a lot in being in reaction to life around you rather
Mm-hmm.
than being in control of creating the thoughts and actions that you want to create. A lot of the time, I think this is where most people come from before these types of programs and breathwork is they're in reaction to life, which puts them in a disempowered and hopeless place.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you're in a place where no matter who's thinking, doing, behaving, anything, you are not reacting to this anymore. You're creating your own decisions, your own feelings. You're creating. You're not
Yes.
in reaction.
Big time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm the creator of my reality. So I'm doing that. I'm creating my reality and I'm not letting people dictate. I'm not letting the world
Mm.
around me dictate where I need to go.
Mm. Delicious. All right, I'm going to bring up some of the famous feedback form questions from the breathing space
Yes.
sessions,
Let's do
and
it.
we'll cover things that we haven't covered yet. I think we've done pretty good naturally flowing from one thought to the other with this
Mm.
feedback so far. Um, but let me just triple check. I haven't missed anything because there's some really great questions. Breathe into your heart. You know the deal. Trust your feeling as you go through. Um, all right. Typically, how was your mental health before the program?
All over the place.
Yep, great answer. How
Simple
about
as that.
how was your emotional awareness before the program,
There
or
wasn't a lot
emotional
of
health?
awareness.
Yep.
I was aware of my anxiety and my OCD.
Mm-hmm.
I was aware. I was definitely aware when I got angry,
Mm.
but I wasn't aware of a lot of those other emotions.
Mm. What
Um,
emotions were you not okay with before this program?
I wasn't okay with anger. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't okay with sadness.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I wasn't okay with. Um,
Anxiety
wasn't
connects
okay
directly
with.
with fear.
I was just about to say I wasn't okay with fear.
Yep.
Um, so I wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't okay with anxiety and fear and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what else was it?
Yeah, so mental health was all over the place, and you weren't totally aware of your emotions, and the negative emotions, fears, sadness, and anger, you weren't okay with those. It's a great
No.
pinpoint to see where you were and how far you've come. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, what do you think were the significant points throughout the program where you started to actually be okay with those negative end of the scale emotions? Do you remember any significant moments where you're like,
Doing the
these
anger
are okay?
session,
Yeah.
big time. Doing the anger session, learning more that anger is myself telling me what I want, what I need. Instead, it's not necessarily. It doesn't have to be an emotion taken on from someone else. Anger is even still something that you create yourself.
Your self-expression. Yeah.
Self-expression. Things can things can happen, and people think, "Oh, this made me angry." Now I think you're just expressing anger.
Yeah. Experiencing anger
Because you
from
don't
the
you
thing
because
that
you
did or didn't happen. That's
um
different to what it was like
yeah.
before. Yeah. And what about understanding it more from the aspect of anger is energy in the body expressing what we want, what we don't want, versus what we typically had learnt about anger is that anger is scary and violent and it causes pain. Talk about that.
I experienced my take on anger was very like that because dad had a very he struggled with his anger and his expression of anger.
Very common,
I
isn't
think
it?
growing up, and yeah, I used to take that as I used to see it as scary and violent. And as soon as I felt it in myself, I didn't like it because I didn't want to be that scary, violent person. Um,
Yeah.
And yeah, that's
It's
anger.
different now.
Anger looked scary, and it was always because of what someone else did. Whenever I was angry, I was always the victim. Um, Whereas now, I've completely taken away that victim mentality, and if I'm angry about something, I know it's because I want something done a certain way, and then I just think, well, how can I do this? How can I have this thing done a certain way rather than just being angry about it and just punching the bag and
Yeah.
hurting my hands, and then I'm angry and then I'm upset at myself because I got
Yeah.
angry and I lashed
Lost
out
control.
violently
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
lost control.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now it's like, how can I listen to this feeling? What is it telling me?
There's intelligence in anger when it's experienced in a healthy way, isn't there? Like actually do
Big
something
time.
that serves your
Big
purpose,
time.
serves what you want, rather than just losing control and creating pain. Well done. Big
Exactly.
changes. Big changes. That's why I love anger so
Big.
much. There's so much to get
It
out of it.
actually is. It is really good. It's a very powerful emotion.
Yeah.
Anger.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
something you can feel very strongly within
Very
you.
intense when it's big, yeah. So if you're
Yeah.
becoming more and more okay with experiencing anger in yourself, how are you now when you witness someone else being angry? How has that changed?
Um.
Like
I
less
don't.
reactive, less scared, more accepting. Where are
Yeah.
you at with that?
A lot more accepting. I don't bring that anger onto myself. If someone was angry around me, I would like want to feel that anger almost, or just kind of think, why is this person angry? Blah blah blah. Now it's just now it's very accepting.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
others are angry around me, I'm just like, oh, I hope you get what you need. That's
Well
all.
done.
I hope you get what you need.
Yeah.
If I can help you, I would love to help you. If I
Well
can't do
done.
anything about it, if you're just a person across the street that's screaming and is angry, I hope you get what you need. That's all.
Yeah. the power of your intention would actually be really supporting their process too. I hope you get what you need. Or even asking the question of, I see that you're angry, or I'm hearing that you're not liking this. What can you do to change that? Or how can I help you with that? It's very nurturing to help someone be okay with their anger as well. Because most of the time, when someone else is angry, they've been told to quiet down, or to stop it, or to don't overreact, or to ignore it, or to get over it. Get over it,
then,
that phrase. Ugh.
And then they do the whole pushing it down. They feel more angry about themselves.
And then they get depressed. That's the next one. If we suppress anger and contain it and push it down, because when we express it, we get judged or rejected, or people don't like it, or we lose relationship, or there are negative consequences because no one has really been taught how to express anger safely or accept anger safely. So if we can't express it, we squash it back down again, even though we don't like the feeling underneath. Where do we go? Numb, depressed, heavy. And then people just stay there, because if they can't express anger and they don't like feeling depressed, where do they go? Why are the suicidal rates so high? What's the other option here? Depression, anger, don't like anger, squash it down, depression, and people just repeat that pattern. And they get stuck in anger, which is why I believe anger is so important to embrace. Because if you can embrace anger, you're going to pop up the other end and start climbing that emotional scale.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big
so how
time.
has... Go for it. Chat about that.
No, you go. You go.
How has expressing your anger and being okay with your anger allowed you to reach the higher feeling experiences, so like the heart qualities? How has embracing your anger, expressing what you want, what you don't want, helped you with your happiness?
I haven't necessarily felt anger since completing this session.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That speaks volumes too, by the way.
Yeah.
You haven't really experienced anger, so you've kind of been more happy.
Yeah, I've been very happy.
Yeah. You don't have to stay down there in anger always. Once you go through the heavy stuff, you don't have to go back down. You don't have to go back there if you don't want to.
Yeah, exactly.
Well
yeah, there hasn't been anything that has brought along a feeling of anger or a need to express it.
Does that mean if there has been something that you have wanted, you've done something about it before you ignored it to get angry? Because if you're more sensitive to your present moment and you're more aware of how you feel, then you're more likely to do what you want before it gets intense negative emotion.
Because if I was to get angry about something, I would be angry about myself for not doing something.
Spot on, which is why your morning rituals are so powerful. Why am I sitting on my phone scrolling and feeling guilty and negative and lazy and blah, blah, blahs? Angry, implode, then can't handle the implosion, so explode and react at everyone else around you. Old version of Jamane. I relate 1,000%. Now I'm conscious.
This new version, I'm conscious, and I'm doing those things to not get angry at myself.
Yes. And if you're angry at yourself, this is good. You're going to take action to do the thing that you need to do so you're not angry at yourself. It's perfect.
Exactly. And because I've been starting my mornings off with the rituals that make me happy, I move through my day happier, chasing the feelings of happiness, not chasing the feelings, creating the feelings of happiness and peace.
Yeah, because you value health. You value moving your body. You value having a great career. You value being efficient with your day. All those things that we spoke about over the last couple of months, 6 months. If you're doing those things that you value, then you're happy. If you're not doing those things that you value, you're unhappy and then irritated and annoyed about not doing them. So then you're going to do something about it. And then you're happy again. It's perfect.
Exactly.
It's just a cycle. Exactly. And you've found that recipe, that framework.
Yeah.
So that's probably why you haven't really been angry for a while. How long has it been since you felt angry?
couldn't tell you the last time I was angry, to be honest.
And there's no shame in anger. You're okay with it, right? You're just
And
noticing.
exactly, and I'm not. Yeah, I'm just noticing that I haven't been angry.
Cool to be aware of that, huh? Really cool to be aware of that. All right, so how has your mental health been since completing the sessions?
My mental health has been better, a lot better. I have been a lot more observant of my mental health. Overall, it's been good, and
no judgments. It just is. Just is.
It just is. I'm very I'm very hooked on at the moment. I'm being present and creating that presence within myself, and creating that happiness that my mental health has been set on those goals, set on the goals that help make me feel better, and just kind of push me to be a better me. And what's that word?
There's something about inspired action, something about leading yourself in a happy energy rather than taking yourself through the heaviness of why you should be doing something and shouldn't be doing something. Yeah. So you sound like the words you're chewing on are more like a lighter and uplifted mindset, right?
Yeah. Yes, 100%. It's less of a, I have to do this, you need to do this to feel better and all that. Yeah. It's more like, I should do this now because this will benefit me in this. Blah, blah, blah. Like the other day, I started making up a piece for, I want to make this video. I started making up some curry, and it's been a long time since I've made up something for myself. And I've tried to stick to my guns and break through those creative barriers of like starting something and then fearful, being afraid of it, and thinking it's not good enough, being afraid of what other people think of it, thinking it's not good enough, and then
all in your head.
And then just moving away from it. I started this piece, and I've been taking my time with it, moving through it slowly. If I only make up 4 counts one day, none the next day, I'm not in a rush, because it's just something I want to do for myself.
Yeah.
Something I want to be inspired about. And I was like, I was getting a little stuck creatively. And I was like, I need to dance. I need to get inspired. I need some new moves. So I went and took 2 classes the other day, and I felt amazing afterwards. And the next day, I made up some more curry, and I was like, yeah, I'm inspired. I got some new moves in your body. Yeah, back in it.
Great.
During those classes, I got in my head one time.
You're aware of that too,
and I was aware of it.
Tell me more.
I was very aware of it. I was we did groups at the end, and there was some people in the class who I look up to, and who I have looked up to, and as I went to do the curry, straight away in my head, I was just like, oh, this person's watching me. I need to do good. I don't want to stuff up, and I forgot, and I went blank, and I was just like, get out of your head. Just
brain fart.
It was just one little moment, and then it didn't happen again.
Well done. What did you do to get out of it? What did you do to reset yourself? Not get out of it, because that means you want to get away from the feeling.
Yeah.
What did you do to nurture yourself through realizing you were in your head?
So I finished off that set and just kind of pushed through it. Then afterwards, I was actually, you know what? Even during it, I was like, these people aren't even looking at me. These people are focused on themselves. Everyone around me is focused on themselves and how they're performing this choreography. Who cares how I do it?
Yeah.
That's how I got out of it.
Well
And I was like, I just need to.
done.
I said I came to this class. I'm doing this for myself. I came to this
Mm.
class because I wanted to be inspired, not because I'm trying to impress someone or trying to land a gig. I'm just taking class. It's not that it's not that deep. Yeah, and it
Something just
was just
about
a
that, just goo, right?
yeah,
Not
literally.
having to be guarded and in performance mode and being seen mode. It's just, hang on,
Yeah,
I'm here for me. You
yeah.
reminded
I
yourself of your
chose.
why.
Yeah, exactly.
Well
And then
done.
I killed it.
You nailed it
Well, let's go on.
based on your feeling, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Amazing. Really, really great. That's one of
yeah.
those emotional wins or those aha moments that you can come back to and really acknowledge that. I think a lot
Mm-hmm.
of dancers have that moment when they've learnt the choreo in the big group and they're nailing it, they feel amazing, and then they go to small groups and then they just make so much of a mess. And I used to do that a lot too. I would just brain fart, I'd freeze and make a mistake. And it wasn't
No
even
matter how
like
good
a
you are,
conscious
everyone does.
fear-based thing. Yeah, it was just people are watching. Naturally, the ego feels the eyes on us, and then we feel the intensity. And if we're not okay with feeling intense feelings, then we can short circuit ourselves in that moment.
Mm, mm.
And it highlights where we are not yet free. People looking
Big
at
time.
me means I'm fearing judgment if I make
Yep.
a mistake. And me being fearful of being judged for making a mistake actually attracts that experience more.
Mm,
It's like a magnet. So if I'm
big time.
doing this for me because I enjoy it, they're the people that we love watching when we go to class or go to a show. They are not giving two hoots about anyone else's thoughts or opinions. They're just there and they're
Of
in the
them.
moment. That's the presence. That's that moment in that present moment, as opposed to attracting the thing that we fear by thinking about it.
Exactly. And the person who I feared was watching me and who I wanted to impress, that person demonstrated being in the moment, like you just said, exceptionally. And they always have. That's why this person has inspired me. And yeah, Marty
Yeah,
Sedfield.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was Marty. He was in the class, and I love Marty.
Beautiful.
Marty's
Yeah.
taught me since I was 15,
Very
and just
inspiring. Yeah.
yeah, and just watching him, he's in his moment. And just watching him do his thing, it's like wow, he's just there because he wants to dance,
Yes,
and
that's
that's
beautiful. So you
he's
value that.
taking his moment. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I did have those moments throughout the whole. But I took two classes throughout both those classes. I was like, wow, it feels so nice to dance. I don't really care about what I look like in the end,
Yes, yes, yes.
sort of thing. It
Yeah.
was it was just that one little time where I went to the little groups and I got in my head a little bit, but I
Perfect.
was able to I was able to move on from that.
As opposed to being in that moment when you're in your head, you're like, oh, I can't believe I did that. And then you can start going into that negative spiral of criticizing in the head moment and then missing the possibility of actually resetting yourself and enjoying the last part of class. You you nurtured yourself in that. So there's a change in you
Yeah.
from that, which is beautiful.
I was
That's
observant and
great.
I acknowledged it straight away and I made the change.
Mm, mm. Beautiful. Well done. All right. Next question. Breathe into your heart. This is so much fun, isn't it? How cool is this to
It
reflect?
is nice. It is very nice. I said too, I was very looking forward to this
Yeah.
reflection because
Yeah.
I wanted to reflect. I wanted to tell you about how much it's helped me and
Yes.
about how just, I constantly talk about it. I've been talking to so many new people and just
Mm.
everyone catching up after lockdown, and I'm like, well, I did this breathwork stuff, and it's been pretty amazing. Let me tell you
Yes.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's great. It's exciting and empowering to talk about growth,
big time,
isn't it?
big
It's
time,
refreshing. It's refreshing.
big time.
And there's something in that as well, just to highlight that sometimes in the mind, we don't want to talk about how good we are because that tall poppy syndrome type of um, mindset. There's this idea of we can't be too happy because everyone else has suffered a lot, or we can't be too bright because it might appear as a wrong thing if someone's having a tough time.
And you're like,
That's
well, I
the
feel
old
amazing.
mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, for me, is I feel good. I've been working on myself. I'm so proud. I'm really sticking
Yeah.
to this routine and I'm so proud.
Yeah.
And then that gives other
Literally.
people, if I'm in my truth, leading by example, that gives other people an opportunity to reflect on themselves. Well, I feel like crap. I haven't done anything for myself. I keep repeating old patterns. And then they can choose to stay in that, or they can choose to inquire,
Make a
get more
change.
curious, make a change. Yeah. So, how have you been when you share this stuff for yourself and with others? Have you noticed that you're holding back your good news, or are you really like openly, expressively proud of the work that you've done?
I'm openly, expressively proud of the work I've done, and
Well done.
I'm sharing that with whoever asks.
Yes.
And
Beautiful.
yeah.
Beautiful. Awesome. I'm very happy to hear that. So, this is a real specific question for others to hear you. So, if I was to take a little snippet from this video
Mm-hmm.
and ask you, hey, Jamane, what would you like to say to others about the benefits you've gained so that it helps them feel curious that they could get what you got from this? What would you say about the benefits you've gained?
I've I've gained knowledge of my emotions. I've gained knowledge of my health. I've gained understanding of emotions, good and bad,
Mm-hmm.
what these emotions mean for me. The 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 I've learned how to be peaceful. I've
Hmm.
learned how to be peaceful and accepting of how I feel, where I'm at, what I'm doing, each and every moment of the day. I've, I'm less caught up in my ego side, which is fear of the future and resentment of the past. And learning those things and gaining that knowledge in gaining that knowledge of self has it's a it's just a it's not something that needs a lot of training. It's a
Hmm.
gradual adaptation to the world around me and to myself and what I'm doing for myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Gradual change.
It yeah, and it's a conscious change. It's
Yes.
I'm learning to be more to live more consciously.
Hmm.
I've yeah, and to attend to my needs through a more um, through a more peaceful sense rather
Hmm.
than a sense of I need to do this because this could possibly benefit my future. I'm attending to myself based on how I feel in this point in time right now. And
That's
yeah,
massive.
that's
If you only got
that's
that from the program, that is enough. That's huge.
that is that I'm so glad I expressed that because that was what I needed to say this whole time. That's the biggest thing that I've taken from this and
Mm.
that I've gained from this to attend to myself right here right now.
Rather than serving your future self in a state of
Because
stress
I
and fear and
exactly because who knows where I'm going to be in the future. Why
yeah.
should I attend to that person when the person that is living right now is me right here, right now? So I'm
And
going to
you're only
attend
going to
to
get there
me.
from here. You're only going to get there
Exactly.
from here. You can't get
If
there
I
anywhere else.
exactly if I want to get there, I need to do stuff here
Yeah.
now. I can't just wait and think, oh yeah, I'll do that over there. No, it's got to happen now.
Yeah, and that's why all the I don't have enough time dialogue comes in, and I'm never going to get anything done, and nothing I do is ever good enough. All the victim stories that can come really strong and powerfully crippling and just yuckies.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of words
Please
to
use that.
describe it. It's a
Please,
feeling.
yeah. Please use that snippet of me saying
Yeah.
that, because that is exactly what I've taken from this, and that's what I want to share with
Mm.
everyone, is that's what I've learned from this.
Your presence, the power in your presence. Being present now is serving your future, and you're letting go of, you said, resentment of the past and fear of the future. Those two, like resentment is frozen anger, and fear is worrying about something repeating that happened in the past anyway. So it's all about the past, which is why
Exactly.
breath work is so powerful, because you come home into the present moment to acknowledge the things that you're not happy about that happen or worried about having them again, so you can get more energy, more power here, so that what you want to achieve is actually more likely. Yes.
Instead of trying change, to prepare for something that happened in the past, instead of trying to prepare for that to for, for that to happen again, and it's it's like it's just more accepting. It's like, well, if this does happen, I know what I know how to address this now. I know how to, if this does happen again,
You
something
got the
like this,
lessons.
I've got the lessons. I'm aware.
Mm,
It's not,
delish.
it's, if it happens again, it's not something that I can prepare for. It's just, if it happens, it happens, and I will accept it and deal with it at that time.
Mm-hmm. Well done. Delicious. Take a breath into your heart. If there is something that we haven't quite covered yet, this is a really great question to touch into it. What has changed and will continue to change as a result of doing these programs?
Myself, my, um, what was the question? Can you repeat the question again?
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, yeah. What has changed and will change as a result of doing all of this work?
What has changed is my views and understanding of myself and the world around me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what will change is my career path, my intention for my career and
Mm,
myself, and my overall health and my overall understanding of yeah, just everything that I've learned is is it's almost like a cheat sheet for a test. The cheat sheet is the understanding of emotions and everything that I am right now, and the test is life.
it's beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
Your
like, well,
creativity
I've
to
got
describe
this.
that is really, really lovely. Yeah. Your
Mm,
emotions are your cheat sheet to the test, and the test is life. Yeah. That's you're probably quite proud of yourself for saying that, right? That came out
I
very
am.
naturally.
Yeah,
That just flowed from
yeah,
you. So that was really lovely. You
yeah.
were in the present moment and you acknowledged what you were wanting to say. That was really nice. Really, really nice.
Hmm.
Do you want to add to that, or is that complete your
No, I'm happy
answer?
with that. That
Yeah.
completed.
Drop the
Yeah.
mic.
Boom. Said what I said.
Yes. Okay, so do you have any suggestions for future breathing space sessions? What more could you have possibly asked for?
What more could I have asked for from you, from the session?
From me, from the sessions? from what you learned. You can look at it from different
myself.
pieces. Yeah.
Not necessarily. Yeah.
Yeah, not necessarily, because if you think you're wanting more
Yeah.
from yourself, then that's not enough, and then you're going into critical mind. So I caught it. We caught it together. Well
Critical
done.
mind thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Um.
what more could you, or if you were going to do it all over again,
Mhm.
what else would you like to add to it?
I couldn't tell you.
Hmm.
I couldn't give you anything specific that I would like to add. I feel like I was so happy with the way that the classes are set out and the way I was taught. Whenever I explained to someone, I was like, we had an hour of just learning, just nice understanding, and then an hour of practice. It's perfect. I enjoy. I always struggled in school with the learning part. I'm very good at the practice side of things, the practical work. That's something that really connects with me. Um, but part of the learning phase of the class is also practical. You're breathing throughout the whole time. You're being present the whole time,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you're engaged. Um,
So it's relevant to you, right? So if you're doing,
I can't think
yeah,
of anything
yeah,
that I wish I had more of.
cool, beautiful. Thank you. That's really lovely. So with the one-on-one space, you're able to learn the theory part of the class and add in the practical aspects because we're having a discussion based on your specific experiences. So that's how it can be really relevant to a more enjoyable session because it's 100% relevant to where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
So you can really soak it all up. Yeah, beautiful. Really, really cool. The only thing that you didn't get from this, because I hadn't set it up yet, was the group private community.
Yes.
How much would you value having that space to share with people doing the work the same way that you've been experiencing it?
I was gonna say, I was actually just about to say that was one thing that was in my mind, but I wasn't really sure because I know it was available in like
We
the
hadn't
morning
set it
stuff,
up
but
yet. Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah, I reckon a group thing would be amazing to connect with other people that are doing this work and taking in understanding how it has changed other people.
Yeah.
Can help you, I believe, can or could help me as well. Just find the little things that you don't always connect.
Yep. Yep.
Things that you connect, things that I that say in our fifth class, we learned something that didn't necessarily connect with me, but may have connected with someone else, and that
Yeah. Really
talking
beneficial and
about
big for
that,
them.
it could have been very big for them, and then that may learning how they went about it and what they took from it could help
Yeah.
me in the future if I experience something similar.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're learning from someone else's experience. Well, funny we speak about this because I've got this big, sexy whiteboard calendar from Officeworks, the SASCO Enviro Year Plan of 2022. I bought one in
Wow,
2019 and I set out a whole 12-month plan and then COVID hit for 2020.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that one just gets thrown in the bin. Everything that I've planned is out in the window. It's like, okay, let's go. It was actually the 2020
Yeah.
calendar. Sorry, I bought it in 2019
Yeah.
for 2020. And so now I've actually looked at monthly group sessions, Zoomies, of course. And I'm looking at one weekend a month for people to jump on one-on-one sessions or group sessions. It's going to be set dates so people can get their bums organised. And I'm looking at Tuesdays and Wednesdays for sessions, private or groups. But I'm looking at possible like the Tuesday or Wednesday evening once a month. So like the first Tuesday or the first Wednesday evening of each month. So it's like set. We're going to do a group. We'll do a group call clearing. We'll do a group check-in. How have you been going with your water, with your lifestyle? What are the challenges? What are the wins? Let's chew on some issues. Let's play with it. Let's touch on a bit of a
AA meeting.
Yeah, but fun, really fun.
But fun,
Although I
yeah.
can't compare
But,
whether AA is or not fun
yeah,
because I've not been, but
yeah.
more of like a
But
community catch-up
yeah,
play
it's
sesh rather than I'm going to a group session because there's something wrong with me. It's like I want to
yeah,
connect with
it's
people who are
more.
doing the work.
Yes, exactly. It's not like an AA meeting at all.
Not at all.
It's just something
That's
fun.
okay.
Yeah,
That's okay. It's more like so it's breathing space for the people who
yeah,
enjoy it. So
yeah,
that's good. I'm glad that I can. You're definitely welcome to jump in those and
yeah.
you'll
I
be a part
reckon
of that.
it would be amazing to hear other people's experiences
Yeah,
and
yeah.
for people to
We
hear
can do
my
sharing.
experience.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. Really, really powerful stuff. Okay, good news about that then. So that would be the only thing that was missing from your private coaching sessions was being able to check in with the group
Mhm.
along the way. So
Mhm.
that's a really powerful thing to acknowledge. Um,
Mhm. And it's cool you've already.
I'm
It's
looking, yeah,
already in the
implementing it.
works. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think it's very special to have that space for people to connect with because my reason why for this, some people don't have the opportunity to connect with people in their home, work, or social space at the level that we connect with in these sessions. Like you said, when you have conversations
Big
with your
time.
closest friends, you're like, yeah, but you're in your head, you don't get it. And so there's only a level that you can connect with the people around you until they're willing to do the work. So that if you've got the space in this group to go deeper into feeling, healing, letting go of the thoughts, any particular blocks that keep coming up that hasn't been fully let go, you have the space to drop into that with total acceptance and
Big
support.
time.
Yeah, so you get the deeper connections that you're probably craving in the outside world.
Yeah.
I look at it as I've always wanted that really, really special friend who just gets this. I've always wanted to have people who want to talk about this and want to go into the deeper feelings of things.
Mhm.
And most people suppress emotion and most people push away pain and discomfort. So I'm kind of being quite selfish when I create this group because I want people to go deeper. I really value deep connection and deep experience. So I hope people
Same.
can get the
Same.
benefits and values from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be really nice. And
100%.
we can have a
I.
dance and we can do meditation and we can do craft and we
Yeah.
can do some silly stuff or cups of tea or and I've even got something in December at the end of the year to have a breathing space party.
A breathing space party.
Party!
Yeah.
Yeah! To have some fun. Yeah? Good idea?
Mhm.
Okay, big breath into your belly and up into your chest and let go. All right, so I've asked some big questions.
Yes.
Do you want us to use... no, I don't need that. I'm just going through the questions on the form.
Yeah. When I did my written testimonial, I didn't go through any of the questions.
That's
That
okay.
was
You
just
spoke very
yeah.
freely. It was beautiful. Thank you for
Yeah.
doing that. I
That's
was
okay.
sitting in a bath with the symptoms of COVID, not having been tested positive yet, but waiting for the
Mm.
test results, and I could just feel something just shutting me down.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful for your flexibility and understanding,
It's okay.
and
I
your
totally
written
understand.
testimonial was just so beautiful to read, and it was
Yeah.
something I connected with a lot during that day. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
Um, I had one more thing I wanted to check over with you. Those questions. Ah, session by session. You got time? Want to play?
Um. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
can
I
whiz
have time.
through, touch on the specific topics. Do you want me to pause this and you need to do a pee break? Do you want to grab a drink?
Yes. I was just about to say, can I do a pee break?
Pee break! 1, 2, 3, go. And we're back.
We back.
Little interval. All right. So we're going to go through just briefly, as briefly as we can. I'm just going into your notes, Jamane.
Mm-hmm.
Can you please make a comment? Actually, it just came to me because there's so many notes because
There's a lot of notes.
I applied a new policy during your program, which was I'll do the homework with you. I'll do the homework for
Yes.
you. only do home play if you're inspired to do it. Tell me about that for you. How much did that help you and serve you in this? Like, people are
It helped me
resistant to
heaps.
homework, right? People have, a
Yeah.
lot of people who I know, even from my own personal experience, I hated homework. I really struggled with stuff at school, and I've done the work to go through that now, and it's all okay, and I love learning things that I'm interested in, and that's the stuff that I retain. However, the things that I'm interested in, there's still potential healing required to fully let go. If there's homework around that, I'm not going to do it. It doesn't happen. So there's this sense
Mm.
of total hand holding and discussion to keep the energy open about doing the work that's typically full of discomfort or uncomfortable and a bit of resistance around the topic.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing that
Big
there
time.
is resistance in healing, typically, because if there's no resistance, we don't need to heal. How has me helping you with the practical homeworky stuff in the sessions helped you, especially the mirror work, the shadow work?
Yeah. Well, like you just explained, I think doing it on my own created a bit of that resistance and a bit of that coming back into thought.
Mm.
When it came to writing the answers, I was a little bit. There was a couple times where I did do the home play because
Yeah.
I was inspired to,
Yep.
and that's what's so great about it. Like I said, I've never like as well. I was never a homework person, not a school person.
Yeah.
Um, but when it comes to something that I'm inspired about, then it why not? I really enjoyed writing it out and getting that extra that extra understanding of the process.
Great.
When we did when we would do a session and I would get some home play afterwards, the times I didn't feel inspired to do the home plays because I feel I took everything in
Mm.
the session.
Yeah.
Um,
Great.
and yeah, that was enough for me.
Yeah.
And but then running through that home play with you as well was kind of like a refresher for the last session.
Yeah.
And
Recaps.
yeah, it's like being at school and instead of doing your homework at home on your own or with your parents, you're doing it with your teacher, someone
Yeah.
who's there to guide you
Yeah.
through the answers. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it,
It's
it,
new
it
information too, isn't it? Like, if this is a new
yeah.
feeling and it's uncharted waters, if I've said that correctly, I tend to make up sayings.
Mm-hmm.
That if it's new and you don't even necessarily have natural language around new feelings, then how are you going to get you create the answers for the feeling when
Mm,
there's no words there yet?
exactly.
So there's that
Exactly.
essence of your inner new space.
Yeah.
It's uncommon
Yeah.
thoughts. Yeah.
Exactly.
So you're
Trying to
being
navigate through
supported
that,
through that.
and yeah,
Yes,
being supported
delish.
through that it's been very helpful, extremely
Great.
helpful.
Yeah, I think we played around with the idea of only do the home play if you feel inspired to, and then we thought about creating a whole school of inspired homework only, like come to school if you
Mm-hmm.
want, don't if you don't. We had
No
some
kids
fun
will be
around
at
it.
school, but
Yeah,
yeah,
only if they feel like they want to. Imagine
yeah.
what the world would
Well,
look like.
yeah,
Next
if you're doing
question.
things that
Yeah,
you're interested in and that you're truly inspired to do, then there's just
you
so
show
much more
up.
benefit in that. There's
You
so
know
much more
what?
benefit.
There's power in that because I knew I loved dancing before I even started school. I went to school when I was 4. And actually, no, I started dancing, I think, the same year as primary school.
Mm,
Anyway, off the point, I would feel sick and sore or can't go to school or not want to go to school because I just didn't like it and I didn't fit in and struggled with friends socially and struggled with the academic side of things and lots of reasons why I didn't want to go. But dancing, be there. I'd wake up early. I'd be ready to go. I'd be so ready to stay. I'd stay there till the seniors' dance classes had finished. I would barely even want to go home. And then when I come home, I show mum and dad all the dances that I learned, and they have to watch it because I'm so happy. And there was a difference in school and dancing. So I knew that when I liked something, I would apply myself. Why would I waste my time doing things that I don't enjoy? There's a reason why we all feel inspired to do things and we connect with certain things. We don't all need to be good at everything. And so
Exactly.
the feeling of that around homework and home play, I remembered all my choreography like that. I would even tell
Yeah.
my teachers when they forgot because I knew it. That was my genius zone. That was my space.
Yeah.
Remembering
Yeah.
maths answers, not so good, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. And there's something really special about the essence of this feeling
Mm-hmm.
inspired by knowledge, applying it because we are inspired by it, and then getting the gifts because it's about us. It's about our healing and our health and our happiness. This is the most important thing.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. And that leads me to the next question before we go into the sessions. This work is confronting. The things that you dive
Mm.
into is typically an uncomfortable topic. You're not going to have a coffee with someone that you barely even know and talk about this. And then
Mm.
typically you may not even open up to someone who you really, really are in relationship with because there could be fear of rejection or fear of judgment and fear of too much feeling stuff. So
Mm.
knowing that typically people don't like to open up with this, what is it that kept you coming back to the sessions, knowing that the work can feel a little intense, knowing that there's discomfort in feeling emotions at the beginning when you're still learning about it? What what kept you coming back to sessions?
It's the feeling afterwards. It's that powerful. It's that feeling of healing, that uncomfortable feeling, of understanding that uncomfortable feeling, and it's the process.
Hmm.
It's the knowing that even though you're going into a, a somewhat uncomfortable situation, if you can, as soon as you open yourself to express that uncomfortable situation, you're making space for healing.
Hmm.
That's already the start of the process. Being open to expressing it and talking about it. I feel like that's the first step to 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 do any sort of healing. So if you're really, I think if you truly believe that it's working and that there is healing happening, um, you you accept it for what it is.
Hmm.
And um, like a lot of stuff, generally, if because we've known each other for a while, I wouldn't a lot of that stuff I wouldn't I wouldn't tell you
Yeah.
as just like a friend, like you said, like going for
Yeah.
coffee. It's not something necessarily you would just chat with someone about. But when it comes to it's not just talking about it. Like I've seen psychologists and stuff, and there's some feeling of talking about it.
Hmm.
But in this, you talk about it and you understand it. You understand the good and the bad in it. You understand um, that it's okay, that everyone experiences some sort of things, and um, even to have you open up about similar
Yeah.
situations
Yeah.
and your own experiences as someone guiding me through this experience
Yeah.
is even more is even makes it even easier.
Cool.
I'd like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Power
It's
and vulnerability to share.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Great.
being open to that vulnerability, I feel like is the first step to all of this. You need
Yeah.
to truly understand your feelings. You need to feel it.
Hmm.
If you're just gonna hold it down, it's just gonna affect you.
Hmm.
And and like I would go into sessions, no idea what I'm gonna talk about, even though we had an idea from like the home play or something.
Yeah.
Or like I do the session on mum, and then I know the next day I'm doing the session on dad, and that you have
Yeah.
to talk about some confronting things. I was okay with it because I knew there was healing in it, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
knew that there was. it wasn't just to talk about it or just to tell people some of my experience. It was to heal, and it was to understand myself. It was to understand what I can take from those situations, because I see some of those situations where some situations that were caused by anger or filled with anger prior to this work sat with me in a scary and something that I was afraid of, something that I never wanted to experience again. Obviously, when it comes to things like that, you don't want to re-experience, but
typically,
it's not re-experiencing. It's just it's understanding it and accepting it. If you can accept the bad as much as the good, you can move through life easier.
Yeah.
If you just accept the good and ignore the bad, what sort of person is that going to make you? You need to see the good and bad in each and every situation. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful.
To truly take in.
That's really beautiful, Jamane. Thank you. 2 questions came up for me when you was answering that.
Mm-hmm.
Trust. It sounds like trust is a really big plays a really big part in these sessions.
Yes, of course.
What is it that gave you trust to open up and to get the gift of healing of confronting uncomfortable topics and aspects of life?
Trust in you, obviously, for trust in the work, knowing that it's for a reason and knowing that there's a path to it, and trust in myself to fully accept and be open to using my situations within the work. Being, I think I said that wrong. I got a little bit lost. What was
It's okay. We're talking about trust. You were answering really clearly.
Yeah.
So trusting me, trusting the process, and trusting yourself was your answer, and what I heard you say then. What is it about me in this space that allowed you to feel that you could trust facing uncomfortable situations to get the healing?
The lighthearted. It's the lighthearted. What's that word?
Breathe into your heart. What's the word I'm looking for? You can't get it wrong. It's your opinion.
It's the lighthearted. This one word.
It'll come. It'll come.
The way we address, the way we go about the program is lighthearted. The way we don't, because we go through this program being kind to ourselves.
Yeah.
It's not about being hard on yourself and doing the work and really
there's something
getting
wrong
it
with
done. You. Yeah, it's more. It's more about approach, the lighthearted approach.
It
was the
turns
word I
up.
was looking
It
for.
turns up. Well done. Well done. Notice the satisfaction in remembering the word that you were looking for. It's like,
Yeah. Then now I can continue. Yeah.
Well done. A lighthearted approach to doing intense work.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. Fantastic. Really, really good. That's my objective too. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I see it and I appreciate it, because it works. Your lighthearted approach to the work, even to the intense situations, is wonderful. It's easy for someone like me to delve into it more, because
Yeah.
it's not such a it's serious work, but it doesn't seem so serious at the time. It just there's
You're connecting to the end result, I'm hearing, because you know there's healing in it.
yeah
You're connecting to the sense that the process is lighthearted, so it doesn't have to feel like you're being dragged through mud. That kind of,
yeah
oh, I'm doing the
exactly
work. I have to struggle through this. It's, I'm doing the work. I'm going to feel better. I'm going to feel better. I'm going to feel better.
yeah. There's a lot
Is
of
that where you're at?
there's a lot of stuff going around nowadays that you got to put in the blood, sweat, and tears to achieve everything you need. You need to go through the depths of
Hell. Is
deep,
it the depths of hell?
the depths of hell
Yeah.
and you don't. You really don't. You can take a lighthearted approach to the process as long as you're doing the work. You don't have to drag yourself through mud to
Mm.
achieve it. With something like this, obviously there's things that you have to go through hard yards to do when it comes to intense training sessions, physical training sessions and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But for something that's very mental and inside soul orientated, it works better through a lighthearted approach, and you
Yep.
don't find yourself trying to. But then again, the way you go through this work has given me a new perspective on how I move through other things
Cool.
that I would think, oh, I need to put my all into this, and it needs to hurt. I need to struggle to do this. I need to go through the struggle. It's not, you don't have to do that. You can enjoy the process. It can be a fun process. It should
Yeah.
be fun, no matter how
Mm.
hard it is. You shouldn't be struggling to you should enjoy the struggle. You shouldn't be
Like inspired healing rather than motivated should to have to healing.
yeah, exactly, all of that. Like we spoke on that, I think, a little bit earlier in the session as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's about
that
the
that
homework thing, but also in the process as well. If you can connect to feeling inspired about what you are achieving, then the work doesn't feel so intense. The intensity is
yeah,
there, but the big picture is there. There's a bit of an expansive awareness of what you're actually doing, what you're going through. So
yeah,
lighthearted, seeing the potential healing, experiencing the healing, me being vulnerable and sharing my personal stuff, which is can be confronting but also connecting as well. Um,
connecting big.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm not just the therapist with the board in the room in the dark corner, just writing notes and
Yeah,
judging you. No shame to
yeah.
therapists. I want to put that out there because I'm
Oh yeah.
posting the whole video on online. But it's yeah, so lighthearted and focusing
It's
on the
just
healing is what helps you get through the hard stuff,
yeah,
the heavy stuff. Amazing.
big time.
Now, there's a reason why I resisted any help in the past because of my belief system around therapy and seeing a psychologist when I was younger. I had a really unpleasant experience. I was in primary school, the first one I went to, and I was really struggling at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so the image that I had carried through my life of therapy or getting help with emotions was quite a negative one. It's like, there's something wrong with me to need to get help. That was the story I was carrying through. And so I never went to another therapist again. I just kind of had to try and figure it out myself and struggle along the way and burn myself out and wait until I was in enough pain and suffering to start paying attention to feeling and making the changes. For you, you have said you've been into some therapy sessions or a counselor or a psychologist, and there's different names and labels and different approaches to this work. How would you compare what you have gone through with me in this program or these programs and these sessions compared to what you would have experienced in other typical, more traditional therapy sessions?
So I did a 10 session thing with a more traditional
Yep.
psychologist
Yep.
um, in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't too long ago.
Yep.
Oh, 3 years ago now. Wow. Um, And it was more, each session just felt like it was just like a conversation. It was just a conversation. It was kind of a conversation of where I was at and how I was feeling, and it was just kind of a place for me to express and talk about what was happening
Yep.
in the past week, or how often I was going and seeing her,
Yep.
which was okay. There was good in that. I found pleasure in that.
Yep.
With this, it's more in depth. I liked how more in depth it is. It's a I love learning uh, about things that I want to learn about. So when it comes to learning about yourself, it's much more enjoyable because I'm learning about myself and my own experiences. It's easier,
Mm.
and the in depth approach to this work is it's more beneficial in a way, in a sense of healing. A traditional psychologist and someone um, thinking about the last person that I saw, it was it was just more a conversation
Yep.
and
Yep.
about where you're at the moment. This is this was a whole new lifestyle shift,
Yeah.
and I don't know how to put it in
Yeah,
more other
that's really
words than
clear.
that. It
Thank you.
was
So the
yeah,
comparison is talking about what's been happening and talking about the feelings. So that's mainly sort of the package of that. And then breathing
mm,
space is discussion about the teachings, getting the
and
practical
then
experience.
practice
But then not only that, you're actually going to go out into life and experience what you have learned and what you have healed to then create positive
exactly,
change, which is where I think
exactly.
personality breakthrough, completely different person, completely different way of seeing the world, completely feeling so happy and peaceful. There's like, I am a different person because I have healed stuff from the past, but I'm also making a change moving forward from this point on.
Yes, big time. Exactly.
Is that right? So you're feeling as
Yeah,
though you're not just talking about your thoughts and your feelings, you're actually feeling your feelings, getting the healing, and then making the change.
exactly. And because with this work as well, compared to a traditional therapist, it's I think I would get caught up a lot in here
Mm,
instead of how I was truly feeling.
yeah.
It was because I didn't understand all this stuff that we've learned. I it was um how I thought I feel or what I thought I had to say almost.
So you're almost learning like the coaching aspect of it. You're learning where the thoughts come
Yeah,
from. You're learning about the emotions so that when you do your breathwork sessions, you can observe the experience rather than being thrown around in it, right?
mm-hmm.
That's what
Mm-hmm.
I found when I did breathwork too. It was like, okay, I get
Yeah,
this and I get where that's coming from, and now I can understand the process that's unfolding. There's more knowledge. There's power in knowledge, right? There's power in knowledge. There's words don't teach, experience does. And when we put those things together, healing happens.
exactly.
But
Which is boom, boom, all that whole drama line.
yes, delicious. All right. Well, look, it's been from 11:30. It's now 1:30. We haven't even gone on to
Yeah.
individual sessions. Is there anything? No, I have to.
we just we
We're gonna rapid fire these questions, okay? This is gonna
yeah.
be like
Okay.
breathe into your heart and then boom, okay?
Yeah.
So originally part of your clarity call was the goals that you wanted to have achieved in 6 months' time. You want to be doing more stuff with the boys. You want to have more knowledge in business in the industry. Health, you want to be more fit and ready. You want to have better energy. You want to feel motivated. You want to get back into the groove with gym and stuff. Looking after your body, being able to use it to its full potential, feeling fit and able socially, having a close circle, who's going to be there for me in the long run was your question. Family, connection, environment, out of the house, more independent, socially comfortable in your own skin, and not have to think about being comfortable. Like, you can just be yourself. Those things that I just ran through, how do you feel about seeing that 6 months over and what you have achieved? Did you nail it mostly? You're getting closer to it?
I'm getting closer to it. I'm definitely getting closer to it. A lot
Well
of
done.
those things were an old mindset as well.
Mm-hmm. Are they still relevant now?
Not all of them. Not all of them. There's the aspects of them.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely with the whole self improvement and, like I said, health and all that sort of stuff. That stuff being in the works.
Yep.
There was one that stood out to me: a close circle of friends.
Yep.
I already had that at the time, also, and I still have that now. I have my close circle, but I've found a lot more joy since coming out of lockdown as well. Especially, I found a lot more joy in talking to friends of friends and strangers, and just
Open.
being a bit. I'm a lot more open to friendships and all that sort of stuff, because I know that just because I'm friends with someone doesn't mean I have to take in all their trauma. I can just be friends with someone just because I'm friends with them.
You can be kind.
Yeah, because I can. Yeah, exactly. I used to think having a friend was. I used to. And I used to get too involved in other people's lives. And that, I think that's what put me away. I was like, I just want a close circle because I only want to be involved with a few people's lives.
Guarding yourself.
Guarding myself. Now I'm more open. Now I'm more open because I know to accept what I need to accept and to ignore what I need to ignore. And
that's pretty cool.
That's how it is. I only need to care about the people I choose to care about.
It's okay to say no and let go.
Yeah,
it's okay to say yes and welcome it in. You've got the power in that space. Well done.
Exactly.
Beautiful. The first 5-6 sessions that you did were part of the 5-session program. We kind of expanded on it and made the sessions longer when you started, and we focused on core clearing breathwork, which was the more scripted and guided breathwork session, where you sort of start on a particular issue that you want to clear, and it's more guided all the way through, so you have a clear action, decision, belief, affirmation at the end after you get the emotional healing in the middle of it. That process compared to Thrive breathwork, where you're doing your laying down breathwork and it's more about trusting the breath and what's unfolding. It's less scripted, less guided, more power to you in what's ready to heal. What is your share how that was for you in experiencing both of those types of breathwork?
I enjoyed. It was cool to experience both. With the Thrive stuff, the more in-depth stuff, it was cool just to see where my feelings went about certain things. It was with the core clearing, as you said, there's a somewhat sort of scripted thing. Not that obviously my answers weren't scripted. But
it's more guided, I really right?
I really enjoyed both. I enjoyed the guided one a lot, as it's I enjoy being guided. I enjoy guidance. I enjoy giving people guidance, and I enjoy
receiving too.
Receiving guidance. It helps me. It benefits me a lot, and that guiding through the process of. I mean, there's been guidance throughout this whole 6 months intensive, which I really enjoyed. I can't really. Did you want me to talk about the difference in what I experienced?
It could be like what you found beneficial from both. So you said the guidance, you appreciated the guidance from the core clearing, and you also appreciated and enjoyed seeing what your body was ready to heal through having a more
Yeah.
open experience. So you benefited from
Yeah.
both, and you could see the gift in both. So you answered the question perfectly.
Yeah.
For me, from the facilitator side of things, I noticed that going through core clearing, the 5-session program first, is a great introduction
Yes.
for
Big time.
learning about thoughts and the journey to feeling and the journey into the
Yes.
heart and getting the healing, so that when you are ready to dive into the deeper work that comes with
Yes.
Thrive Breathwork, you've got some skills and understanding of what's involved, and you'll be more willing to
Yes.
drop into that deeper work.
Yes, 100%. I think it would be a little bit overwhelming going
Mm,
straight into the Thrive stuff if you're
yeah,
not understanding of what this stuff is about.
yeah.
And yeah, I think it was very good for me to go through the start with the five. Yeah,
Good. I'm happy to
big
hear that.
time.
I trusted my
Yeah,
feeling in that. Core clearing is a great introduction for anyone who's not done this work before.
yeah,
And then Thrive is the next step. Really, really, really great.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so let's whiz through. The first 5-session program, we went through core clearing mostly. And so you got to get clarity on what challenges you were facing and what you wanted to achieve in 6 months' time. We did the goal setting and future pace, thinking of a perfect day, and got some clarity and gave you the motivation or inspiration to take action to do the work, which was a great starting place because you decided that you wanted to do something that made you feel better, healthier, happier, and more in control of your life. It's a great starting place. Your first core clearing, you had more action steps around surrender and enjoying the moment. Session 2,
Mm-hmm.
another core clearing came up about wanting to resolve some issues around priorities in your personal life. And
Mm-hmm.
so we got to uncover that. And going through that, you had the opportunity to take action, to just breathe and to meditate. So you've been applying some action steps from the very beginning. The first session was live through the ease and the joy of experience. And then the second session was to breathe and to meditate, to practice acceptance. The third session, the challenge was about your well-being, getting annoyed and frustrated about your sleep pattern and prioritizing and planning. And so the resolve in that was to connect more with joy, contentment, to follow your feelings, to connect with yourself. Cool, yeah. It's nice to hear where you went from one to the other.
Mm-hmm. And I can
For,
see how I'm doing that now too. How
yes,
I've made those changes now.
beautiful. I'll keep going. You can interrupt me. I'm not looking at our video screen. I'm going through the notes, but just
Mm-hmm.
interrupt me if you want to add to anything. Session
Mm-hmm.
4 from the 5-session program, we went into the heart aspirations. So the how I relate to myself or my relationships or my career, what I want to be, do, and have. We played with that framework, and you got to create the feeling and the ideas of what your heart is calling for in main
Mm-hmm.
areas of your life. And we highlighted the top 5 that you wanted to work on, which was the relationship with yourself. You wanted to do more spirituality, be more in tune with yourself, be more enthusiastic, and have freedom. The second big one was holiday. You want to plan a trip to Bali and just party. You have space and someone to talk to at the same time and to be relaxed. I want to see your face when I'm reading this. I'm going to minimize the screen. I want to see your
Mm-hmm.
reactions. The next one was lifestyle. So to be more consistent and on the ball. To do is to attend to my goals straight away, not get distracted so easily. Have a sleep schedule. The other one, fun. To learn and have your own space. The other one, spirituality. To be present, to meditate, have guidance and gratitude. And as you listen to your heart, the biggest one out of all of them was the most important thing right now in my life is my character, changing depending on the situation, to keep present with spirituality. My character can stay less stressed, can be in a less stressed present state. My character can answer questions from a place of stillness. So you are connecting to peace and stillness a lot through the first already 4 sessions. How do you feel hearing back that just so far, those 4 sessions?
I can. It helps me relate to where I'm at now,
Mm.
because there was a lot. There's part of me that knows that that's the process of me now, but there was also part of me that was like, am I really at peace and content with where I'm at, or am I just, it is, I don't understand. But um, more and more every day, I'm understanding more, that I'm understanding that it is the true path that I'm on, and
Well done.
hearing that that's what I know, hearing that that's what I did at the start of the session, I can see where that manifestation side of things came into play. Um I realize as well,
Mm.
manifesting is just putting things into your subconscious and letting it play out. That's, you're not manifesting the world around you, you're just manifesting something in yourself.
Mm.
Once you put something in your
Mm.
subconscious mind,
Yeah.
it it starts to act.
Yeah. There's something about our eyeballs facing out when actually they're the projector for what's going on in here. Everything that we see is based on what's going on here. Really, really cool stuff. Yeah. And we get what we think about whether we like it or not, is the famous Abraham
Yeah,
quote. So we have
yeah,
to be very, very mindful and conscious of what thoughts we're thinking and how that can affect our life. Really, really powerful stuff. Awesome. So session 5, you went into heart manifesting and being really clear and creating the life that you wanted, and you were clearing some other things that hadn't been resolved yet, and you um, created affirmations of I am brave, I take risks, I just go for it, nothing will stop me. The actual physical step from that clearing was to ignore my phone first thing in the morning and meditate instead. How's that going for you?
good. I've been a lot better. I've been a
Mm-hmm.
lot better at it. Um, I still haven't really done a lot of specific meditation stuff in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
My meditation comes throughout the day, when
Yep.
I'm drinking in the morning, when I'm drinking the water and reading my book,
Yes, absolutely.
when I'm sitting in my
Well
car
done.
and I'm thinking about something, I just take a couple breaths, just to center myself.
Heart
It hasn't been,
centering.
I haven't, yeah, I haven't done too much like intense meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Just a lot of, mainly a lot of, yeah, just heart centering breaths throughout the day,
Yep. So
and
becoming more
just,
present.
yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah,
your whole day is meditation when you're present.
yeah, exactly,
So when you're
exactly.
going to have a shower, can you feel the water? When you're washing the dishes, if you wash the dishes or pack the dishwasher, can you actually feel the plate and the cutlery in your hands? Are you being present with the sensations in your body? There's meditation in
Mm-hmm,
all of that. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
awesome. Awesome, awesome. Okay, and so we kept going. You had a tiny break after the 5 sessions, and I was like, "Hey,
Yes.
Jamane, you've had a beginning experience. You've worked through some stuff. Do you want to keep going? Do you want to play? Do you want to go deeper into these things that may be stopping you from getting, being, doing, having what you want?" And you're like, maybe, yes, no, not sure. I'm feeling a little bit hesitant. You were like a bit resistant. What was it for you that made you feel that pain, resistant, discomfort, intense feeling of I maybe don't want to do this, but you did it anyway? What was it that got you from the 5 sessions to the 10 sessions?
Hard to recall. Um, it
Yeah.
because I genuinely can't remember why I felt like, why I was afraid of it. Doing.
That's amazing. Emotions connected to a past experience is why we remember them. You no longer
Mm-hmm,
have an active emotion in your memory of that moment. Therefore,
mm-hmm,
you're clear, you're completed in that space. What was stopping you
yeah,
from doing it, you processed it, which is why you don't remember. It's not
yeah,
relevant anymore.
yeah, exactly.
You don't have to answer it like, I don't know, it's not relevant now. I can't
Yeah,
remember. It's done. The feeling is done. I did it. That's probably why you don't remember,
yeah,
because you chose to do it.
exactly.
Awesome. What would you say to someone who's considering doing the first 5-session program as like a really great introduction to breathwork and emotional healing, or someone who's done the 5 sessions and contemplating going into the 10, what would you say to them to encourage inspired action?
I would tell them that I felt the same way, that I was a little bit hesitant about it, but I am so grateful and happy that I chose to do it. I'm grateful that I made that shift. There is so much benefit in treating yourself, healing yourself, and just I'd just do it. What do you got to lose? It's not hard. You only have to do homework if you want to. You're just
You're selling
what
it
you're
really well. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah.
It's gonna. Why not?
Yeah.
If
Why not?
you've already done, if for someone who's already done the 5-session program, I would just be like, do the 10 sessions, do it. Just you don't understand yet. You've only just started. The first 5 sessions is baby steps.
Yeah.
Baby
There's
steps.
so much more potential. There's so many more possibilities.
So many more. So much more.
Yeah.
You can.
Delish. Really, really clear. Awesome. And so would you give any specific advice to someone or encouragement to someone who hasn't done any breathwork before, but is feeling typically unhappy or repeating patterns that they're not proud of, or they just want more from life? What would you say to them about beginning this, making a start?
Be vulnerable and open. Be vulnerable to what you'll find out about yourself when it comes to negative patterns and behaviors. Be open to it. Not putting yourself down because of things that you're healing and things that you're changing about you, because that's part of it. If you want to live a better life, you have to make changes to yourself. You can't change the world around you to make your life better. If you want to make your life better, you have to make changes to yourself. And this work has done that for me. So to anyone else who is thinking about it, do it.
You're a pure example of what is possible.
Exactly.
I can do it. You can do it.
I can do it. Exactly.
And that flows. It's kind of the dance teacher talk, isn't it? Well, remember Miss Donna saying, if I can still do cartwheel split, blah, 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 and I'm how many years old, then you can do it too. The power of leading by example is incredible. Incredible. Yeah.
100%.
Great. That advice that you've shared is beautiful. Thank you. What else?
That's okay. I was just going to elaborate on the if I can do it, you can do it thing. I think a lot of people, like, they'll look at someone who's already very successful in it, and they're like, if I can do it, you can do it. And some people will look at those people and be like, oh, like, of course you can do it. You know, you've been training for this long, you've done it for this long, you've blah blah blah, you've had this. That's that victim mentality, I think. And that there's
I'm hearing what you're getting with that. There's something about knowing that you want something and talking yourself into why you want it, rather than knowing that you want something and talking yourself into why you can't. The contradiction, the I want this and, not the I want this but.
Yes.
So I can see that Jamane has done the 5 and the 10 in 6 months, and look at how far he's come. If I was looking at you from a place of, I'm not good enough, I can't do it, he's just lucky, or I'm not like him, I couldn't do it, then that I'm talking myself out of the possibility of healing, as opposed to I can see that he has done it and I want that, so what am I going to do about it? Do it. Talk myself into it rather than talk myself out of it, especially when the benefits are positive and uplifting.
The benefits outweigh the positive outweighs the bad immensely.
Yeah. And when you mean bad, do you mean like the intense feelings that can rise in a breathwork session? the uncomfortable, intense
That's the
feelings.
thing. I didn't even want to use the word bad because there's
Yeah.
no bad in the program. There's
Oh, that's nice.
there's 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 only bad if you create it
Hmm.
yourself. Yeah,
Delish.
because
Yeah.
that's it. It's just good. It's nice the whole way through.
It's just nice the
There's
whole
nothing.
way through.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right, so you did some work on anger. You touched on some really sensitive spaces with um, generation, so parents and their parents, and seeing the patterns that come through family and
Mm-hmm.
healing resentment. You said you spoke about anger being really like the anger session during the 10 session program was quite profound. Um, and you haven't really been angry since, which is really cool. I'm just whizzing through the session notes. Every quick change is an opportunity to slow down. I've got this highlighted in there. It's funny. That's relevant. That can be an analogy for life as well as for dancing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm whizzing through. God, grant me the courage to change the things that I can. Anger. The serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Powerlessness. The past. And the wisdom to know the difference.
Mm.
Delicious.
Those
Um,
are those are very important things. Yes.
yeah, I remember you being really connected to that. We spoke about whizzing through, whizzing through, whizzing through. I'm going to go to the bottom of each session where you spoke about a set decision. You've gone from limiting decisions and beliefs, such as feeling confused and I don't understand why I feel this way, to lashing out, to using anger in a way that hurts you, so like punching bags and things, and like to the point where you've got pain in your body. Um, silent treatment, withdrawing, disconnecting. You've gone from that to something very loving and open. I'm just scrolling through to make sure I didn't miss the answers. Spiritual truth changed to being clear and I understand, I am important, I am heard, I am understood, I am cared about, I am loved, I am connected, I am seen, I am happy to be seen, and I am passionate. And it changes to the behavior of being responsive and using your voice and expressing your true feelings and having accountability with being on time because you value it, and to express my
Mm.
feelings to others, um, and to deserve others deserve how you feel. Others deserve to hear how you feel. Sorry. Even in just that example, going from where you were, thoughts and beliefs, to what you discovered. These are your words. This is what came up for you. There's such a change. And the breathwork session is the hour. It's not even the 2 hour session. You can create
Mm.
some serious positive change in a very short amount of time. That's pretty cool.
Big
I'm
time.
not going to go through every session because I'm going to give it all away. I need to keep some of this in a state of curiosity for people watching this far. We've been
Yeah.
chatting for hours. So if anyone has
Yeah.
actually watched this video all the way through, thank you. I'm so grateful, and I'm curious to see what actions you will take if you're going to contact me to do the sessions. Um, I would love to see anyone and everyone who's willing to go deeper into their feeling and trust themselves and trust the process, just like Jamane has done. I'm very grateful for your commitment, Jamane. This has been such a beautiful space to share together. I have learnt more for me as a facilitator, guiding you every single session. These sessions have shaped and become more because of doing the sessions with you. So thank you. Your part in this is really, really important and precious. Um, and seeing you commit to yourself, commit to the process, and trust me along the way has just shown the potential to what is possible for so many other people. You committed. You didn't bail on the sessions. You didn't resist fully. Like if you felt resistance, you still did it anyway. So I want to honor you in that. It's very I really do appreciate and value that in you so much. And look at what you have created because of it. I love seeing that, and
Exactly.
I cannot wait to see what
Exactly.
else you do now that you've got this information and knowledge and healing.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to add anything before we finish up?
think I've said everything, most of
We've,
the things I've needed to say.
we've
I've
covered everything, haven't
yeah,
we?
yeah. It's been an amazing experience to experience something like this. Changes has changed my life forever.
Yeah.
Genuinely, it's and you said it throughout the sessions. Once you learned it, you can't unlearn this stuff. It's powerful and it's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Well done. Thank you so much.
It's
The
okay.
only other
Thank
thing
you.
I wanted to cover, thank you, is moving forward. If
Hmm.
money was no issue, because this is a really interesting topic for so many people, if money
Hmm.
was no issue, if you could totally commit to yourself and prioritize yourself above anything else, just like paying for your phone bill so you have connection to everything through the phone, just like putting fuel in your car because without it, you can't drive. If money was no issue, how many sessions to continue healing, emotional support, and keeping yourself present and keeping yourself open, how many sessions would you do a week, a fortnight, a month, a year that you would believe with where you're at now is a great support for you moving forward into the year?
I would do one every week. I would
That would be
do,
pretty cool, wouldn't it?
yeah. I would.
Yeah.
That would be. That would be like the presence would be immaculate.
Unshakable. Yeah,
I'm
immaculate.
just the
Immaculatepresence.com.au.
immaculate presence.
It would be very supportive. It would be very, very
Yes.
supportive. Well, you've said it now, you've said it out loud, so let's see where you go with that. And if you what happens for the next
Um,
12 months.
yeah.
And of
I would
course,
love to continue some sessions.
yeah.
Definitely want to chat to you more about that.
Yeah, we can do that for sure.
Yeah.
100%. I would love to coach you every week for a year. Imagine what you would imagine the
be
possibilities.
I would be a floating
You'll be
spiritual
levitating.
being.
You can be, do, and have anything that you want, and you'll be seeing it unfold. You
Exactly.
already are seeing it unfold. And now we're just preaching to the choir
Exactly.
because we both know it's amazing. And anyone that's missing out on it
Exactly.
needs to get onto it. And anyone that doesn't want to, that's okay. I vote for your victory, as Tyler Tolman says. He goes, whatever your decision is, I vote for your victory. Whatever that is for you, I love and accept it. But anyone that's wanting to get into
Yes.
these sessions, let's go. And
Do it.
thank you again so much, Jamane. This has been great.
That's okay. Thank you,
Toodle
Jacq.
noodles.